Okay, we are doing it live. So a few months ago, I posted a video and a Colab notebook showing an introduction to OpenAI's Agentic Swarms, and I talked a little bit about what OpenAI's swarms are, and they're basically like OpenAI's agentic framework. So you can build teams of AI assistants or virtual agents to do things for you. For example, common use cases in customer service where you would have an AI assistant routing to other AI assistants who specialize in doing certain things, like, for example, checking your account information, yada yada. And I went through the basics of that, and I said I was going to do a follow-up with something a little bit more advanced, and that's what we're going to cover today, where I take you through an example of an OpenAI Agentic Swarm, which is connected into a live airline flights API and can retrieve live flight information. And the value of this is it kind of shows that we can give these OpenAI Agentic Swarms the ability to call information from the internet. And so, if you are maybe a travel website or building like a travel app, this is the kind of thing that you might want an AI assistant to be able to do. Get live flight statuses or get flight prices, that kind of thing. If you want a bit of background on OpenAI's Agentic Swarms, they've got a repo here. What I have created is derived from their original code, but I've made some modifications, and I've fundamentally added this ability to call in from a live flight API service from this company, AviationStack. And this is the original code that this is based on. So OpenAI in their Swarms repo, they have an airline customer service example where it's kind of impressive at first, and then it kind of feels a little bit basic, where you can cancel a flight, change a flight, or you can talk to the agent about lost baggage. But all of that is hard coded and doesn't really allow you to call any real-time information into it, which is what I've added in. So as I say, the information is coming from an API service called AviationStack. You will need to go to AviationStack and sign up for a free API key. I did that. I'm not connected to them in any way. I don't get any money for this or anything. I just thought or found it to be a good API to get the information that I wanted for this demo. And why is this demo important, or why is it helpful, or what have you? Well, OpenAI are launching their new operator agent, which I think is kind of building on the Agentic Swarms, and is going to support in triaging between networks of agents. So anyway, that's enough background. Start off with, as I say, you'll need that. You need an OpenAI key and an AviationStack API key. If you want to connect with me, my LinkedIn details are there. So what you're going to need to do first is click and run this installs line. I've already done it just to save some time. And then what you'll need to do next after that is to install swarm.git from the OpenAI GitHub repository. I've done both those, just save some time. So you just click on those and they proceed for you. Next up, you need to set up your OpenAI key. And here I give a little bit of instruction on how to do that. What you will need to do is name your key as this OpenAI key. And I'll show you what that looks like, where to, and what that looks like in a second. So this code here is going to set up the OpenAI key for us, and here it says notebook does not have access to secrets, so you say grant access. If you haven't already set this up, you'll probably have to, and what you can see in here is OpenAI key. This one is activated here. You just need to set up your key in this key panel here, and then once that's done, this is the OpenAI key set up, and now we can proceed. So you will also need your AviationStack key set up in that same place, and you will need to name it exactly like this to work, and then you just activate it. So that's the API key setups. Next, we're going to clone the repository And if we open up our folder section here, we should see, yes, we now have the Swarms repository from GitHub loaded in here. And if we click into this, we can see this is the airline. This is the original airline code from OpenAI for their demo or their example. And what we're going to do is we're going to add to that. So first we're going to set up our directory path. And now what this code does is it adds in a script called codes.py. And what this code does is it enables us to work with the AviationStack API. We're going to call information based on flight destinations and departure airports and airlines. So in order to do that, we have to supply the agent with some background information. So basically a list of airline codes, and these are standard 2-character international airline codes which are used for the AviationStack API. And what we're also going to add in are airport codes, and these are 3-character codes which are used to identify international airports. So for example, Dubai is DXB, San Francisco is SFO. You get the picture. And what the agent is going to do is to use these codes or extract these codes based on natural language and pass them into the API to get the information from AviationStack. So we run that, and that will have written this piece of code to the airlines code that we had. And then now what we're also going to do is update a script in the OpenAI example, the script called tools.py. And what it does is it just adds in the ability to make the API call to AviationStack. And here you can see that code there. So we're just going to run that. And that adds that code into the folder that we're working with. And then finally, what we're also going to do is update a script called agents.py to add in our flight status agent. And here you can see the name of the agent, and you can see the instructions that are given to the agent. So it says you're a flight status checking assistant for flight airlines. You have access to a list of airports and airlines, airport codes, airline codes. That's the script we set up earlier. And then it just gives instructions. Look for the airports and airlines mentioned from the user message. Compare only against provided reference dictionaries. So use the information that's been provided. And then it gives some handling instructions as well. And it gives an example conversation flow for how it works. So check flights from London to Auckland. I see you want to check flights from Auckland to AKL. So the agent will confirm the 3-letter code. And for London, it confirms which airport I'm talking about. Because there are 2, or actually there are multiple in London. But in this instance, there are 2 in the codes reference. Heathrow, London Heathrow, and London Gatwick. And the user confirms Gatwick. And then what this will do is it gives the agent the information to be able to pick the right codes to construct the API call to get the information from API stack. And then you can see there's a few other agents. These are the standard agents that OpenAI already had in there. Cool, so we run this code, and that adds the live flight status agent in for us. Finally, we're going to add some styling to the chat interface. And then what we're also going to do is within the OpenAI Agentic Swarms repo, they have this thing called debug mode, which shows all of the steps that the AI agent takes in between. You can leave it on. I choose to turn it off because I feel it just makes, for at least demo purposes, it makes the chat interface look a bit bulky. But leave it on if you want to kind of see how the assistant is working behind the scenes, what steps, what actions it's taking. But we're going to switch it off here. Cool. Okay, and next up we'll be ready to test the airline agent. Before we do that, actually, let's just check that those scripts that we talked about are in there. So we've got airline configs agents.py. So airline configs agents.py. And if we open up that script, we can see that the flight agent has been added in. Cool, that all looks good. So that is in there. And then what we can also see, let's just check the flight codes are in there as well. And that is in airline data reference. So data reference codes. And we can see that's been added in. So yeah, we're good to go, I think. This is based on, as I said, the original OpenAI code for the airline service agent with the addition of the live flights status calling, which I've added in. There are other agents in the mix here. So also what this code does is we are dynamically inserting our live flights agent into the existing team of agents as well. So within this team already, there is the triage agent who routes user queries to the right agent to use. There is a flight modification agent who will modify flights for the user based on information. There's a cancellation agent. There's a lost baggage agent who there's a sequence in there that you can pretend to have lost a bag and it will resolve that for you. And then finally, there is the flight status check agent, the one using AviationStack. And for those other agents, like if you want to go into the flow of how they work, you need some information to kind of make them work, like customer ID. You can have a look at those as you wish. Now, as I said, actually, you know what? We don't need any more instructions. Let's just run the chat. I'm gonna, actually, I will pop out for this. There we go. Hello. What can you do for me? I can help with a variety of things, such as checking flight statuses, transferring you to the right department or flight modifications, assisting with the lost baggage, answering general inquiries. I'd like to check a flight status. See, I'm not spelling correctly, but let's see. Okay, so it recognizes that. So it's triaged me to the flight status agent. To check a flight status, I need some details. Could you provide the departure and arrival airports, as well as the airline you'd like to check? London, New York, BA. That's all I put in. For London to New York, we have a couple of airport options. For London, did you mean Heathrow or Gatwick? For New York, JFK or Newark Liberty or LaGuardia? Please confirm the correct airports. Let's go for Heathrow, Kennedy, and be British Airways. To confirm, you want to check British Airways, London Heathrow, John F. Kennedy. Yes. Okay, and here we go. Actually, I'm going to zoom that out a bit. So here we can see it's pulled us back 3 flights. BA 1516, status landed. We can check that one. BA 1516. So here we are. It says scheduled departure 8:40, arrival time 11:40. Let's see what it says. 8:40. 11:40. So there we go. We can tell it has correctly pulled live flight information in for this flight. So that's pretty much the basic. I mean, we can check another flight. I'd like to check another. Sure. Let's see. Paris to China. Okay, so here we go. CDG de Gaulle to Beijing, capital, and Air France. Let's see if that works. Yes. Okay, so there's one there. Okay, this one is active in flight actually right now. Scheduled departure 10:45, actual departure 11. Let's have a look at that one. Let's see how that one worked out. Okay, from Charles de Gaulle 22:45, Beijing 15:28. Okay, so then so the 10:45 is correct. The arrival time is a little bit off. There could be a number of reasons for that. But anyway, it works. You can call the live flight statuses via the API, and that's nice. And then one other thing we can do is we can route into another agent as well if we want to. So what else can you do for me? See, I'm not typing correctly. I'm typing kind of quite clumsily here. Answering questions, providing information, checks baggage, guiding you through flight cancellations or changes. Let's say I lost a bag. And now it's transferred us to the triage. Yes. Let me transfer you to our lost baggage department. Yes, please. Okay, cool. We're in the baggage search. Good news, your baggage has been found. I will now arrange for the baggage to be delivered to your address. Please confirm your delivery address to proceed. Let's see. I think the delivery address might be here. Here we go. Let's try that. I think that's the delivery address. Thank you for providing your address. Your baggage will be arranged to be delivered. Is anything else needed? Anything else I can assist you with? Nothing else, thank you. So that's it. I'm going to shut that off now, interrupt execution to stop that running. It's very important you stop that running because otherwise it will keep running. And that's it. That's about the extent of the code, but nonetheless, quite short, quite sweet, but also, I don't know, I found it quite inspirational working on this. I enjoyed the project a lot. Nice to be calling in live information because it does give you a sense of what these AI agents might be capable of if you're connecting them into multiple different API services. This was just one small example, but you can imagine if I was calling into a hotels API and wanting to book hotels, could do that through this agent potentially as well. So yeah, the code for this is in the description as well as any other links that you need. The link to the basics video, the OpenAI Agentic Swarms basics video, is also in the link as well. So everything you need in the description. And I hope you enjoy experimenting with this one. I hope it gives you some code you can maybe get started with and start to build your own OpenAI Agentic Swarms in time for their forthcoming operator, which sounds pretty big. All right. Thank you for your time. And have a great day.